What do we have here? A nice CRKT. Confidence in hand. I'm confident it's in my hand. What does CRKT stand for? I'm trying to remember. Critical Rifle Knife Team. I don't think that's it. It's like something River? Cool River Knife Team. No, it's Columbia River Knife and Tool, I think. I don't know. Not sure. What do we got here? We got the BT Fighter. It's a Brian Tighe design. He's a custom knife maker. CRKT loves to take knife makers that make customs and hire them to design something, or at least to help design something. I assume CRKT did some of the design, some of the fitting Brian Tighe's design into their, way of doing things. I'm sure it's a collaboration, not just his design. It looks like carbon fiber, but it is not. It's just like a pattern in this molded plastic, which I think is like fiber reinforced nylon, probably something like that. Obviously it's a button lock. It's a fun button lock too. It's very fun. Woo! Buttony. Does it have a problem going back? No. So the trick with the button lock is to play with it like this, is to press the button just to get it to break loose, then release the button. I'm not letting my thumb all the way off, but I'm releasing the button enough to where when it comes up, it locks in. Because if I don't do that, it'll bounce back, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. So it can bounce if you don't release the. It's like a timing thing. You have to press the button and then let it off before it comes all the way open. And then when you close it, same deal. If you, like I was doing wrong, I was pressing the button to let it down, and then it was hitting the bottom and bouncing. So you got to kind of button it down, then let go of the button, then it locks down. The button works great. Yeah, there's a tiny bit of play, but a lot of button locks have a little bit of play. No side, a little bit of side to side, but I could adjust that out. And then it's going to be a little less smooth, but it can be done. The tail area here is kind of weird, and the pocket clip is kind of weird. It's got like a ball bearing thing, and then this big Y-shaped deal. I guess this is supposed to be a lanyard hole? No, it's probably supposed to be for, I don't know, to clip into something. I don't know. Backspacer is nice. I think it's also just plastic though. Nice ridges on it. They don't feel uncomfortable in hand. Now, these finger grooves could be uncomfortable. It's on the verge of uncomfortable a little bit for me right up in here. But I have pretty big hands. Like I wear XL gloves usually. Sometimes I can sneak into a large glove, but usually XL, so. On the larger side. I think if my hands were any bigger though, this would be too tight. And if they were a lot smaller, it might be weird too. If your finger ends up on one of these things because you have smaller fingers, that would suck. It's a bit thin right here at this point. Could be a little wider right there. It doesn't feel overly thin totally, just right there near the edge. It's kind of these little drop down shelf areas gets thinner and thinner until this edge is kind of thin. Are we out of focus? I can't tell. Oh, yep. Okay, now it's in focus. So these little shelf areas here, drop it down and get thinner and thinner. They should have kind of left that, I don't know, whatever. Let's see. Boy, the blade is almost kind of tight in that little area there, like it's almost touching the sides, but it doesn't, so pretty well centered. Flipper works great. Thumb studs work great. Do they reverse flick? I think so. Oh yeah, it's a fun, definitely a fun fidget factor knife. CRKT did a decent job on this one. The fact that it is the nylon, it does feel a little, feels a tad chintzy. I'm trying to see if I can bend it. I don't really feel any flex there. I mean, yeah, okay. Maybe a little more flex than you would out of a G10 knife. Let's see. Let me see if it actually feels any different than a cheap G10, although these liners are probably making it a lot thicker. Oh, I didn't even think to check. Does that sucker have liners? Let's see. That feels real stable. I think it must have liners. Oh yeah, yeah. There's a thin, fairly thin liner just below the plastic there, and it only runs, I think, down lower than the finger grooves and stuff. Does it go all the way back? Yes, it goes all the way back to the tail. And you can just see the very edge of it right there poking up. So yeah, it's got a liner. It's not just plastic. It's definitely a good looking knife. Very tactical. Tactical. Oh, yes, if I was on a SWAT team, I'd have one. Take out the bad guys. Ho, ho, ho. Or cut people out of cars if they're stuck. Something like that. Be good for that. I think they have them in, you know what, I'm wrong about that. I think it's only Tanto. I think they only have a Tanto blade. I don't think they have a rounded one, though they should. That would look cool. The Tanto's neat. They do have a smaller version. They have the BT Fighter extra small, or just small. It's probably about this long. And I think it is maybe not a Tanto. I'll check and I'll put a picture of it up here. The smaller one. Same button lock, all that stuff. Same feel. I used to have one. Don't have one right now though. So, do I recommend the CRKT BT Fighter? I don't know. It's fun. It's definitely a fun knife. I'm not going to tell you to buy it for heavy duty use, really. Just because of the plastic and the little bit of kind of flex I can feel. Although it's a thick blade and a fairly heavy blade, so it looks like it wants to do heavy work. Anyway, you decide. Have a nice day.